the Wildwood after this. I don't think we're going to stay too much around it. This is a guess.
As a tangential question, and I would end up directing this because I've had considerations, you folks have encountered quite a bit of intrigue of sorts with like a multi-layered story here. How do you feel about our swerves that you've encountered thus far in Foghaven? I always have a consideration and a worry that they'll reach a point where I'll have like some sort of situation where the players go, "That's fucking it. What the fuck is this shit? Fuck you. This is dumb."
Well, it feels a lot like we're the only competent people around.
Isn't that the case in a TRPG? The PCs are the only competence?
It is true, that is our feeling. One thing I did think of is like before we started having those theories about Miss Melchor possibly having something about us, like, wait, she's so powerful, why can't she just damn do this?
What about this wizard? What's he doing? And Camilla, like, we're staying here talking to her people about this shit, and she's like the great, loved, peace person.
Yeah,
what the hell is she doing? You know?
People are one of three things: oblivious, unwilling, or in the whole thing. It's just
well said.
Yeah, so that's a bit frustrating that we have to deal with things that seems like they would have very simple solutions. Just somebody else wants to get off their ass.
Right, but that's how like the adventurer's bread is made. Them
it is, yeah.
Them doing this shit that no one else, for whatever fucking reason, applies themselves
on
to.
that note, I get like the sending us down south to check on Meadowdell. That makes sense. You'd spend time with adventurers do that. It's kind of a journey, and like it's not an like immediate issue. You just want to know what's going on. You know, that makes sense. You'd send adventurers for that. The mob thing was kind of weird. We had to deal with that on our own, but I guess the other people who dealt with it were the people who instigated the mob.
I want to present the situation. You didn't have to address the mob. Could have bypassed it like anything else.
Yeah.
And in retrospect, we should have.
No, you made it a little better. The success.
We saved the child.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's something.
The minor successes did diminish the mob in size. Gryph managed to derail it from like that size of 200, and we had a fail-forward situation where there were several dozen people who dispersed and went to go about their lives. And instead of a mob of 200, you ended up with like a mob of 115. It's a difference. That's 85 fewer peasants you have to kill. Yeah, that was just a tangential side note.
Question?
Yeah, that's fine.
I like layered stories that we have to figure out things.
So,
it seems like if it was just like, oh, the orc in the forest is being mean to us. Now go fight his lieutenants and then him. That would be kind of boring.
Like we've undergone quite a bit of combat-heavy stuff, and so I've wanted to mix in aspects that aren't so combat-heavy to get a feel for what players would like and appreciate in a system. Since I've not GM'd any of you before, especially in the high fantasy campaign, which is my favorite, I like to intersperse different elements so that I can feel what players like and don't like. It's hard for me to do that without being able to read body language. So I, for this situation, for this campaign arc, which might go into a bigger campaign, I've just spitballed ideas and I'm seeing what gels here.
Would you rather have webcams running for body language?
It's not a bad idea. To get back to my third question, though that was just a tangent, Dark, where do you see this campaign going from here?
Where do I see it going from here? I'm not entirely sure, actually. I mean, right now there's of course the immediate things which I know. I mean, we've got I know for a fact Team PC is going to investigate the Whispering Ravager, and
that's right.
we're going to investigate the Melchors, and we're going to investigate everyone we see, basically.
That's right.
Everyone.
And you too ended up seeing a character whom you were given a portrait of at
the
beginning.
I will say, the moment I saw that portrait, I double-taked. Went to my Dropbox, double-checked it was the correct photo.
I had a brief moment there where I was like, I wonder if he remembers this portrait. Wouldn't that be great if he just didn't fucking remember it at all?
like I was damn sure. I was like going back, was like, really? Like, I wasn't expecting it to show up yet. And there it was.
Like with
And
how
I was just
Manaki
like-
didn't expect Ajax to be involved from the very start.
Basically, I went through my notes. I was basically having like a mental overload. Like, what's going on? Like, how do I? There.
I noticed what you typed in the chat. I think I was like, wait, what?
Like, I remembered. I just didn't have no idea what to respond about.
Alright. So you have no idea where the fuck we're gonna go next, and like a story wise, it's just up in the air.
We're going somewhere, and I'm not sure where. I'm not sure how. I think there might be more undead. There we go.
Alright. Sheep, same question. Where do you see the story progressing from here over the next 4 sessions?
Well, the short answer is I don't really know. The long answer is that things do seem to be escalating rather quickly. I think that we're on the right track, kind of figuring out what is happening with, I don't know, the Lich King, the Druid, the Empire, and whatnot. And that we are just currently seeing the small seed that will eventually explode into some world-spanning event or something. In the very, very short term, well, there's of course the Whispering Ravager, who somehow has things who's somehow related to all of this, but I don't know. So,
And that needles at you, like that seeing that note there with the -WR, that gets you, right?
yeah, basically.
I could hear that in your voice, like, WR wins.
I don't know who you are, I don't know where you are, but now I really, really hate you. That note just pushed me over the edge.
Really?
Yes, that note was the last straw, really.
I was taking when I saw that because I kind of know some of your personality. There's just like, you guys aren't going to stand for that.
No,
But
please.
in the longer run, in the like, what's the opposite of short term? In the long term, I guess.
Yes.
I definitely see this conflict escalating. I don't think we're just going to fix everything immediately. We are probably going to stop like agents of like the Archdruid, which would be Ajax, I suppose, and of the Lich King, which might be Melchors, I suppose. But I don't think that will be just that. I think this really feels like it's just the beginning of something grander. I do have to say, I really like how the icon relationships are playing into this. I like how the characters are involved in this. On the other hand, I feel like my picks for icon relationships are not really that present in the current campaign. Or in the current arc anyways. Which is perfectly fine, of course. It's just something I definitely noticed. Because everyone is like, oh, Lich King, I hate you. And like, oh, Druid, I hate you. And Emperor,
Right.
I like you.
Right.
Like, I'm just here like, oh, yeah, I've heard of those guys.
You're not in a situation where the Great Goldworm or Priestess like immediately take dominance.
Exactly.
You know, it would be like Gryph's relationships with the Dwarf King and Prince of Shadows. They don't take precedence over here.
It's probably not so much that I'm left out. It's probably that the other 3 of the 5 party members are so involved that's just creating a contrast. It's probably not an inherently bad thing. It's just something that is very noticeable.
Right. Yeah, I did notice how Sheep sounded after that fucking note. I was like, score 1 for the asshole. That's what you want. The player characters to care. Okay, final main question, and we'll start with Manaki. I asked you folks where you saw this campaign going from here, the story. My 4th question is, where do you want to see the story go from here?
In a radically different direction than what I expect. I guess is my answer.
Yeah, that would be Manakai's answer.
I want to be surprised. I want to be astonished. I want to lean back and say, "Whoa, that's both crazy, epic, and cool." That's what I want. I want to wow me.
All right, unrealistic expectations. I like it.
I mean, this is what I want, right?
Yeah, that is absolutely.
Beyond that, dig deeper into the icon relationships and the inherent conflicts and complications that stem in those, and of course to dig deeper into the characters and their individual stories sort of expand and flourish and have the pain that drives characters to change throughout the story. That's gonna be great. Yeah.
All right. Dark, where do you want to see the story go from here?
One moment. There's a lot of potential angles which I kind of want to see this go. I definitely want to see our icon relations have their grand effect upon it. That's something actually I'm quite liking. Possibly seeing more from some of the icon relations that have been a little bit more dipped down, such as like the Gold Worm and like the Prince of Shadows. So Prince of Shadows you don't really see, you kind of just it happens. But and of course all our characters, we all want to pursue things that relate to our characters. But overall, I'm kind of interested in just exploring more of the world, like seeing somewhere different, somewhere new. Somewhat unusual.
Alright. Sheep, where do you want to see the campaign, the story go from here?
Oh, all the odd questions today. Well, I like the direction so far. I definitely like the fact that character development is playing at least a seemingly significant role in the overall arc. And the overall campaign even, and I just wanted to keep going like this.
Alright. So, Great Gold Worm and Priestess always in the shadows. Got it.
If it is necessary for the campaign as a whole to make sense, then sure, I wouldn't mind. I can just imagine it would be difficult to make every single icon play a big role in a specific campaign. It makes sense that some of them might be not left out completely, but having a more minor role because, some of them have a very specific area where they interact with things. Specifically, the Gold Worm, I think, is basically just in the abyss. Sure, it has influence somewhere else, but not as massive as, for example, the Archdruid or the Lich King, I would imagine at least have.
Yes, the Great Gold Worm used to be, his influence used to be far more powerful before he threw himself down into the abyss to block it. Since then, his influence on the world has waned considerably. Yes, even though, only half of the icons are in play, I can't see a way of prioritizing their story for every single session. Now, the book has recommendations for that, which I've bended to. And that is depending on who ends up hitting on their relationship dice to, inject and completely, meld the story mechanics and who's all involved in a particular session based on that. Which I do incorporate to some degree, not as fast and loose as, Jonathan Tweet and Rob Heinsu like to do, but, this is my first time running 13th Age, and, I'm getting a feel for running the campaign. But I can certainly say that in the future, you will end up being in situations where the High Druid isn't as involved because you won't be near the Wildwood, where the High Druid fucking is. So it is said. Alright, Asthma Man, where do you want to see the story go from here?
Well, I actually also did like the direction the story is going at the moment, with all the drama between the High Druid, the Emperor, the Archmage, and the Lich King. And I can't really think of any other directions. Maybe some sort of twists in the story, like something we weren't expecting. Like I think Manaki said, maybe not sort of extreme, grand, sort of what the fuck moment, but but something in something we weren't expecting.
I make no promises that any of you will ever encounter anything you did not expect at any point in the campaign.
ACX was really a zombie all along.
Because players can think of so many different things that something will stick to the board, and then you go, I knew it!
We're a paranoid bunch, so bunch of fucks.
Right. Already over this session, not to mention the last one, you've already suggested so many crazy ideas. One of them might be right.
Yep.
If you just keep making absurd statements like Ajax is actually a zombie, then whenever it happens, you'll be like, I knew it. I'm not surprised.
Remember that one time where I joked about it?
Yeah.
I wasn't joking.
I set expectations.
I knew.
Considering that the trees didn't like flip out once he arrived, I don't think so. Maybe it was all an illusion. We weren't really in the woods.
On an end note, though, I do very much like that it's a story where we can guess things and where everything's not obvious at any point.
Yeah.
Where we kind of have... I mean, at the end of it, hopefully we know what really went on, but until now I like kind of the Sherlock Holmes style of trying to every time we get a new clue, trying to sort of rectify our story to what actually is going on.
Yeah, it's certainly entertaining, but as long as things don't get too convoluted, as long as we have like story threads that we can actually connect to other things instead of just having this giant ball of threads that go nowhere.
Right.
If that is an analogy that can be understood.
I will attempt to.
Basically, if it turns out that the Whispering Revenger is actually a
zombie
dwarf from the Dwarf King and a zombie, then things might be very confusing.
Next step, Forge. We're going to Forge, everyone.
Gryph may disagree.
Not if he's not here.
That is true.
He's why we're going there.
He'll just wake up in Forge.
We need the money.
That's right, you guys are going to claim the bounty. Alright. I appreciate your patience through those questions. They are familiar questions for me. I love to ask the players those. They help me get a better sense for what you're enjoying and what you're not enjoying, as well as your expectations for the game moving forward. I can't say for certainty that this will end up being a 30-40 session commitment. Like I can't say that about any other system I go into, but so far I am enjoying running the system. I've always, well, not always, but I'm of the belief that we're all equal participants in what we do, and we're all responsible for each other's fun whenever we make this agreement to sit down at the table. And I'm not the one who writes the story. It's the characters who write the story. Those are the campaigns that I enjoy. Where the thing that I do is I play all of the things that you can't do, and I adjudicate all the things that you can't adjudicate. And I help to shape those meaningful moments. But the story, ultimately, is about you as the player characters, and what you choose or don't choose to do. And any setbacks you end up making hopefully contribute to a meaningful story at the end. That's why I like to inject things with meaningful consequences. That's why I don't want you folks to feel as if your time is being wasted with valueless additions. Whether that ends up being a meaningless combat that you blow through, where you have so many resources at the end that you feel as if it was all meaningless, or a character interaction where you go, what the fuck did that add to the situation? We all want different things whenever we sit down at the table, and it's all of our jobs to find that and have fun, while we make sure that everyone else has fun too. I'm glad that you folks have enjoyed our time together, and I hope that we can continue to contribute to a meaningful experience in the Tuesdays to come.
Cheers.
And then we drink. No. Prost!
Seems mine's empty.
Yes. And, are there any questions for me before I dismiss you all and we can all enjoy what's known as sleep?
Sleep?
Sleep is for the week. I still have like 4 more days of holiday or something.
That means
Was
stay up
something I
until
was
7.
thinking about at some point. Oh yeah, the Reckless wand.
Yes.
When exactly can I use that? Before I make an attack, or when I, like, if I, for example, roll and I'm like, I only hit one guy, can I then use
So
it?
it takes an action to use, so you would it's a free action, but it still takes an action to use, so you would trigger that right before you make your attack.
Alright, sure.
How many attacks do you have that have a random number of enemies, out of curiosity?
Not a whole lot, actually.
Not
Right now, I
right-
don't
yeah.
have any except for Collar Spray. So I might get some.
You could have 1d4 plus 1d3.
So, well, you get an extra D3 added. But he could take an incremental advance that allows him to take up, a level 3 spell thing, because he can get another level 3 spell slot, I do believe. So he could pick up Lightning Bolt, and Lightning Bolt is one that has its targets randomly determined.
Yeah, I might upgrade. The Ray of Frost instead, though.
But yes,
Simply because I use it so much.
when the session came about, or when this campaign came about, I followed one of the book's suggestions and took aside a small list of magic items that I thought would be interesting and meaningful for you folks to have. Sheep triggered his on the very first session with his 2 5s and a 6 that he rolled.
Because you can't roll better than that. Well, much better.
The only other person who had procced theirs up to this point had been Manaki. Now, of course, all the other magic items you received were ones that I thought would be meaningful additions whenever you looted the Wizard's Tower. You won't always be filled to your magic item capacity, but I do hope to showcase and illustrate the unique magic item system which exists in 13th Age.
I do like my wand. I do like it.
Yes.
I do like the wand.
I'm glad I'd selected that with you in mind, particularly the quirk, upon hearing of your character.
Yeah.
All right, that was a question from Manaki. Are there any other questions for me before we ride off into the moonlight?
No questions, though I am considering something to try and help Sheep's buff because he's getting hurt on the front line quite badly.
Getting hurt is the entire point of my character. Don't worry too much about it.
Yeah.
You almost fell unconscious.
If I fall unconscious, then you are in trouble. But so far that has only happened once.
And we were in trouble.
And we were in trouble.
So much trouble.
So I am considering myself like, is there a way I can make this multi-class work?
I could get a heal spell now that lets me heal you each turn. Like 4d6 healing each turn.
Every turn?
If you want to find ways to support me, sure. But do keep in mind that if you spend your turns healing, it also means that the enemies do not spend turns dying.
Well, my option sheet would be giving you someone else to tank with you.
Yes, a team criticism I would offer in this situation is prioritizing zombies when instead of the ranged people who have clearly proven over the past 4 sessions and in multiple campaigns for Sheep their lethality.
but the zombies are supposed to be like squishy and easy to destroy, right? Like
no, in this
they're like small little weakling things that were like you kick them and they fall over.
Those human zombies were level 2 troops, and they were built in mind for hit points, and they have them.
Yeah, obviously.
We did not know how many hit
damage
points they would have at the
That's
start.
pretty damn good.
Let's see. Here's the spell that I'm thinking of. It's a terrain spell, but I can pick up a feat where when I cast another spell, I can cast that spell as well, and doesn't have to be in that particular terrain.
I'm gonna say, because you guys aren't even remotely on the Koru Behemoth fucking migration.
No.
Just want to note that.
So
Yeah,
you can take a feat that allows you to, when you cast any other spell.
When I cast another... No, it's a particular spell.
Oh, what
And
spell?
I can't actually pick it up now because it's a champion feat.
What I'm basically saying is just see battles as just a number of hit points that you need to go through. If you just
Before
keep
they go for
healing,
hours, right?
yeah, two teams of hit points are battling it out. If we just, if our hit points run out, we lose. If their hit points run out, we win. So we want to make their hit points run out before our hit points run out. And it's usually best to just do the deeps.
For your knowledge, Sheep, what I'm thinking of basically wouldn't be healing, it would be having a second tank.
Yeah.
That elemental we have. That's a thing.
The thing is, basically,
Forward, yeah.
if I was to do this, my damage would floor.
Yeah, I don't know if
Do
the
that.
13th age
Don't
system.
ruin your character for.
Yeah.
It wouldn't ruin it. It's just like I'm trying to see if there a way I can make it better.
Yeah, I can pick up another elemental spell, elemental summoning, so I can do it twice a day.
Well, I don't know if the 13th age system allows for much like this, but what it feels to me we are missing is like the control spells that, for example, Pathfinder has, like walls and like slows and staggering and things like that. You know.
I have a few of those, but they're
It's
all
debuffs,
dailies.
not really controls.
Debuffs, basically, yeah.
Debuffs do exist, but in a much smaller extent.
Yeah, it's more like I could pick one spell, a 3rd level spell that gives me one against one monster. I can like weaken it. No, yeah, I think it's hampering actually.
Yeah, hampering it, which you've seen the effects of hamper.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just feels like the only way to somehow make an enemy less threatening is to kill him.
It certainly seems to be the easiest way, but that might be because I can empower my thing to.
Yes, Manaki has an evocation effect. Like normally he's supposed to roll just 4d10. With his evocation, he's able to maximize the damage and not worry about things like variables.
Which is nice.
Yeah, but it does feel like you can't just work on making an enemy less threatening by like stacking debuffs and the things you would do in Pathfinder. It's just either it dies before it kills you, or it kills you.
So stacking conditions isn't really even a thing in this game. Like if you dazed and weakened someone, they would only get a -4 to their attack rolls, not -8. The book explicitly states that in the conditions. They don't pile on it.
Yeah, that's why I'm kind of comparing to Pathfinder, because in Pathfinder you fight this evil like fighter dude. What do? You can like make him drop prone, you can disarm him, you can just grease him, whatever, and suddenly he becomes less and less threatening. Whereas in 13th Age it just really feels like the only way to make a threatening enemy less threatening is to outright kill him.
Or go beyond the scope of conditions and attempt to achieve something creative.
How do you mean?
It would have to be like class builds which allow for that. Like the rogue has a swashbuckle thing. The ranger has a terrain stunt feature. Other classes have means through which they can alter a battle in creative, not directly dealing damage ways.
Yeah, and they do exist cheap. I just don't take them really because many of them have it works against the target with this many HP or fewer. I mean, I guess that's a way in which you can use a controller to sort of someone deals damage to them, which allows them to be controlled. Like for example, confusion. That is given they would work.
I think my main complaint here, or my main concern, is simply that the combat system in its entirety just seems too simple to me, in contrast to Pathfinder, which is a weird comparison because Pathfinder is ridiculously bloated in that regard. It just kind of feels like that I lack the options I would like to have.
I don't think there is an issue of options. Personally, that's personal.
I don't have too many spells right now. I end up like Ray of Frosting a lot, but I mean, I guess that's just low level.
Yeah, you're low level, and those are the options that you want to use anyway, Manaki, because it emphasizes what you have your character built around, which is that evocation.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, for me it might just be the case that I picked the wrong class for the wrong role. Because at the moment, when I'm really doing what I think I'm supposed to be doing, as in standing in the enemy's faces, I have very few options rather than either try to hit them and fail miserably, which might just be my dice luck.
You're more of a support character, actually.
Or I can just stand there and use recoveries, which doesn't use any of my class features whatsoever.
Right, a fighter's, class features, his maneuvers and what have you, are better suited for, waiting in a melee situation and controlling a battle. So is the Paladin's Challenge feature, which you've noted before, which is why you considered multi-classing.
Yes.
To some degree, like, you wouldn't even have to multi-class, right? You could just completely remake the character. Like, if you could, you could make it story-wise make sense to change your focus, right?
I do like the flavor behind the class because I definitely put that into the entire like character backstory. This whole commander
Sure, but
God,
it's gonna evolve.
What we need is a 5th player, basically.
Again, I've been thinking
Yes.
about going into cleric stuff because I think it would be interesting, and an unexpected turn for my character. I have to think about it more, but
You don't want to be a druid anymore?
well, that's more of a fun thing.
I don't know.
Because it would be fun, but I just I don't think Hurim really would have the right kind of respect for nature to make it work.
No, it wouldn't.
Not that he would want to, but it would be more like, I grab the power of nature and I use it to do my will, which I don't think that's not what a druid would do, right?
No, it's sort of more given to them.
Yeah.
Given to the worthy.
To give to the unworthy.
Yes.
Yes. Incremental advance for everyone.
Yeah.
So that's something that you can consider if you haven't already for the time. And of course, whatever decision you folks end up coming up to, whatever you would like to pursue next, or if you would like to attempt to ask more information from Bjorny, and I can certainly give you some in the chat, you can certainly do that, because you'll basically have the entire night. So anything that Bjorny might be able to tell you, you're welcome to pitch in the group chat.
Right.
If, as has always been the case, we'll have our, if you can try to make a decision by Sunday, that'd be great, as it allows me to finalize things for you. Otherwise, I am really going to be ad-libbing coming into a session. And, presumably, Gryph will be here next week, so he'll get off of work early, so we'll start at 7 p.m. Dark's time, 8 p.m. for all of you, and 2 p.m. for me. And plan for a 5-hour session.
Right.
Sure. I think this time is going to be the one that is hardest to decide what to do.
Yeah, sure is.
Just go to that mansion and set it on fire. That was our original plan, and I think it's a good plan.
Oh, I thought you meant the
Melkor state.
Just set all the mansion on fire.
close the doors, burn it down with all the guards.
Yes.
I don't think
That would not escalate things unnecessarily.
Oh, no.
You put like a "From the Druids" sign outside.
But yeah, actually going to the bandits and burning the place down might be a good idea.
Are there any
I
other questions for me right now?
Is it okay if I change my feet?
What's your feat currently used for?
Flame Spear. I'm thinking of changing that.
What are you going to change it to?
Improved initiative, maybe? I'm thinking.
Sure. We're taking a full heal up, so I think that's fine.
Yeah, I'm not really sure yet, but I'm thinking of increasing my spark to do more damage, so I'm not gonna use the Flame Spear anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, I might want to change one of my feats as well, because the one I have currently is to allow the command I have to let people disengage from all targets instead of just one. But I've never actually used that like in the last 3 sessions.
It's fine. It's not a problem. You guys are taking a full heal up, so it's not a big deal for you folks to switch around your feats.
Might have been useful against the wolves pack attack thing, but yeah. It's very situational.
Well, the thing is, there's usually something that is just more important in the situation to do. Like, giving someone a reroll is just so powerful. It's mostly just
real good.
all I do.
Yeah.
But we like it.
All I do is manipulate fate by giving people attack rerolls. That's it. It's just a minor.
Well,
That 40 damage you make hit, that's your damage.
I'm not saying, oh, that's just all I do, that's all I'm good for.
I understand.
It's what I do because it's so powerful and I like it.
Right, I understand. And in comparison, disengaging doesn't seem to be that priority.
Yeah.
Mostly things just engage again. Because we can't really easily, like, even if you double move, they can still double move.
Yeah, that's coming back to my problem of the fear that there's just a lack of control over the battlefield.
To
Because
be-
you move away, everything is just going to follow you. You can't stop it.
Normally, you're able to prohibit that if you have someone who's free to intercept and melee. Your party composition, however, consists of 3 casters. There's no
Yeah,
one
exactly.
there's no one to catch an enemy for you.
Which is why I'm thinking of going caster melee hybrid. Which is fun. Because that is what I'm seeing is the problem, the fact that we can't stop them from moving, and having more melee does that.
Sure, but then again, you will do far less damage.
That is what I'm working out basically. How much less would I do, and would that be
What would
worth
you
it?
gain? I suppose is the question.
Well, first thing is my AC would go from 16 to 20.
Pretty good.
That would be pretty good.
I would gain slightly more health, very slightly more, like 4 hit points.
How do you get all that stuff? By multiclassing, or what are you doing?
Multi-class, ranger, or
Okay.
sorcerer,
Hmm.
which is the only one I could make work for me.
Now, you would suffer an attack penalty with your sorcerer spells while wearing that ranger armor, would you not?
No,
Not if it's light armor.
because sorcerers don't take a penalty in light armor.
That's true.
No one does really.
It's true.
What about going with barbarian?
Barbarian would not work because the problem is Barbarian is strength charisma. I'd be using a +1 bonus to hit.
It's the key ability that really limits the.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the key.
technically my optimum one, as mentioned in the past, is Chaos Mage, but
That doesn't exist.
Chaos
so.
Mage.
No,
So,
we
yeah.
could just all multiclass into commander, then all take the reroll, and then we'll have all the rerolls.
We always
difficult-
all
see,
take
my
that one to
difficult-
stand up.
sheet my difficulty is I'd be hitting with a +1 bonus, get strength for charisma for me.
Do that all the time. Yeah.
But rerolls.
But
It doesn't matter if you have a
basically,
+1
also
to
one
hit,
thing
you have
is-
6 rerolls.
Malachi? One thing it would also gain me is both the heal feature of the cleric and the cure light wound spell of the cleric.
Really? That's
Yes.
pretty powerful.
Because I'd be using a ranger talent and a feat for it.
The ranger talent, a ranger
Ranger
talent
X Cathedral.
allows you to select a cleric spell. And with a feat from that ranger talent that allows you to select the cleric spell, you're also able to cast Heal,
Once per battle.
which is a quick action enabling you to use a recovery.
Basically, it would way raise the party survival, which is why I'm considering it so much.
So yes, he
I haven't considered
multi-classes
cleric,
into
yeah.
he multi-classes into rangers so that he can use a cleric spell. Your mind is fucking blown, I know.
Because cleric is a bad multi-class because I have no wisdom.
He is not wise.
But it also
I'm
grants
decent.
me more AC. It grants me a lot of things. Actually, it would. Just it would give me penalties to my damage because spells would go up 1 level later.
So cleric go through wisdom and what else?
Wisdom,
There's a nice
wisdom, charisma
table
for me.
here.
Yeah, there's a
for-
table in 13 True Ways.
If you-
in
That's the only way to
multi-class
do it.
chapter.
A druid cleric,
It's
for your knowledge.
107.
Yeah.
A druid cleric would be strength wisdom.
Ah, damn it.
And you're looking at your dexterity, sobbing a little inside.
Yep.
I know.
Let's see.
What's your dexterity?
Do they get-
Dexterity is modifier 4, so 8.
Well,
Do you want to
druid,
become a rogue druid?
druid rogue,
Or a monk druid?
druid ranger, druid rogue would work. Druid monk.
I don't think I want to multi-class, however. I want all
No.
my spell slots.
Yeah, I am actually seriously considering this because I could make this work. It would just be interesting.
You know, I dislike multiclassing simply because I always multiclass.
Well,
It's just-
well, you don't have to this time.
I never do it.
You don't want to be
Never
dragon,
ever.
crashing, and multi-class guy.
It shouldn't be necessary to multiclass.
It isn't.
It
Also-
is-
also-
Yeah, it really isn't. But
It isn't. It's a case of I'm choosing if I want to do it or not. Because
I need to convince myself that multiclassing isn't necessary because it's not.
It's just a fun option.
Also, of course, Grimith knows with my background to the priestess, I could make the Deus Ex Cathedral work.
I know that? Huh. I didn't know I knew that.
I have like priestess like connections.
Like cyberpunk
Not quite.
people.
Like wrong place, man. Wrong world.
Go into the Matrix
Right.
now.
Yeah.
Alright,
I don't-
Europeans. I am out of here.
I'll maximize
What?
everything.
That's right, I'm going to run my air conditioner. That's important to me.
And you can't be on Skype while doing that.
I could be, but then you'd have to
But
hear
the air
condi-
conditioner would also be on Skype.
That's
Well-
right, air conditioner's pretty shy.
Oh.
Aw, it's not like Trade, who's very, very helpful.
No, Grimith
tell
lives
it we're nice
basically
people.
in a boiling swamp, so I can certainly understand.
That's right. These are
You would
dark
wanna go.
times. The temperature is currently, let me translate this to fuck you Celsius right now. That's how hot it is. Yes.
And it's not even summer yet.
Good, yes, good talks, folks. I enjoyed the character interaction. I enjoyed the feedback, and I will mull it over and then completely disregard it for next session. Because fuck your opinions. You're on this goddamn railroad, and you're gonna do what I say.
Of course.
How it works.
Next up, the assault on the bandit base, part 2.
Probably.
It'll be great, I'm sure.
I